Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask Ms. Oakley about the iterative development approach a little bit more. Let me give you an example to see if I'm right. So some new cars now, so I have an old car and a new car. My old car has a system, an audio system in there that was built when the car was built. There's no way of updating it in any sort of way. It is what it is, and obviously 12 years later, it's very outdated. If I want a new audio system, I might as well buy a new car at that point. But the new car I have, or newish car I have, you can update the audio system and update the offerings the audio system has. Is that what you would say is an iterative development approach?
That's one aspect of it. So obviously allowing over-the-air updates for software is one capability that can be added to an existing capability to get something out quickly. So you field something with the knowledge that you're still working on the software to update a critical capability. So that's one step of it. But then the next step is, being able to change out the engine, being able to change other key parts of that system in an easy way because you've structured the program to be able to be modified in the long run. So you're going at an acquisition with the intention of, we're going to put out this car, and these are the capabilities that's going to provide. In the interim, while we're working on the next iteration of it, we're going to give it software updates while we design, test, and evaluate the next iteration and collect feedback from the first iteration to then change the design and put out a new vehicle, a new model going forward. And that's exactly the type of iterative approach that we think DoD should follow to ensure that we're meeting warfighter needs.
I'll give you a more tangible example as well. So we have a lot of assets in space now. We have a Space Force, and we're very involved in defense and space. And some of those assets are very valuable satellites in low Earth orbit. And I have a company in my district that has the ability to basically maintain those satellites, and they've come up with new innovative ways to do that. So instead of having to buy and launch a new satellite, we can just keep the satellites we have up there running because they're perfectly fine otherwise. Sometimes they just simply run out of fuel, so we just need to refuel them. And the problem they've encountered is institutional barriers at DoD to adopt these kinds of services. And so what could we do to help sort of put in place these iterative development approaches that you've suggested?
Yeah, DoD needs to change its acquisition process, and this starts with budgeting and requirements. The way the current requirement set is, where current requirements are developed is that these very specific, exquisite requirements are developed right from the very beginning, before you realize the art of the possible in some cases. And then it also, doing that, ignores the fact that you might be able to continue upgrading and modifying systems as you go forward. And so what our work would look at is, could DoD put in place a requirement system that starts with high-level needs, focuses on what those critical needs are, and then does the design, testing, and evaluation using digital tools to be able to understand where they're going to be able to get in a reasonable time frame, and then structures the program to be able to leverage just what you're saying, the ability to upgrade and modernize systems as you're going forward. And that needs to be baked in from the very beginning.
The other thing that I've seen from, I think, almost everyone's testimony here today, and even the comments of the other members, is that we have to have good talent at the DoD. And I guess I would ask really anyone, some of the people who have resigned, I think there's been thousands now, the DoD were either probationary or were fired, were probationary, or they were people who were technologists and they had left for greener pastures. And so how do we attract better talent to the DoD when right now there's this issue with the federal government and cuts to the federal government? Anyone?
I will jump in. So how to attract talent? I think there are a number of ways. There was a while where I was going to a lot of people and asking them, why did you leave government? And would you go back into government? And how important is pay? And invariably, pay was not the issue. The issue that a lot of these people who are former government employees would say was two, is one, I didn't feel like I could get anything done. And two, is I was being too micromanaged. Right? I wasn't asked to do anything. I was told, this is what you do, this is the policy you follow, this is how you do it. Right? It was those two things. I said, would you go back into government? I'm like, give me an offer, but can I get anything done? And that was really what motivated a lot of people to leave. And I think, having been a former government worker myself, motivates a lot of people to want to work for government. You know, and if we can fix those things, I think we will get the best and the brightest.
Yeah, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, and I recognize the gentleman.